Wow, I think this is the the most full that I've ever seen this council chamber ever. And that includes the Silver Ditch flood meeting. So we've got a really, really nice audience here. You know, today is really an important day because when you look at the city of North Canton, for those of you that live in the city, many of you have lived here generation after generation. For those of you that work here in the city, you look, we have all of our fire medics and our police officers, our state troopers. We have officers from other departments, Jackson Township, Akron. We have a lot of different people here. And I think it really just represents you know, the importance of today. In North Canton, we've always had a tradition, and we still do have this tradition of excellence. And I think the tradition of excellence started back with Boss Hoover when he started the Hoover Vacuum Cleaner Company. And he was also the mayor, and he was also the local preacher too. And I think that really that represents the character of our community, because that tradition of excellence, the same thing that, you know, made the best vacuum cleaner in the world, that has been carried on into our public service here in the city. And it's been generation after generation after generation. And our city administrator, Mike Grimes, who he was previously our police chief. And then we also have Chief Wilder, who is actually responsible for why we're appointing John, because he had recently retired. But when you look at that tradition of excellence, there's always a transition. There's a transition of authority and of those positions. And so today is another really important transition. And we want to continue with that tradition of excellence. And today is the day that we're going to appoint John Minock. And John got started actually back in 1986, right?
In the auxiliary, yeah.
In the auxiliary. And the way that John got started was because his father worked at the sheriff's department as a sheriff's deputy, right? Auxiliary. And then he served 12 years here in North Canton as an auxiliary police officer. And so he said to John one day, why don't you go up there and see if you like it? And that was a few decades ago, right? And you liked it well enough to stay. He said it was either between being a police officer or a firefighter, and he chose the police department. So we're really glad he made that decision. And when you look at that tradition of excellence, as we call it, I think it really is reflected in the people that we serve. So every 3 years, the city council and the administration sends out a survey to the residents. And the police department consistently, and so it's every 3 years, and we've had 3 surveys that go out, so it's been over a 9-year, actually a 10-year period. Our police department gets over 90% give them a good to excellent rating. And when you look at individuals that are being given tickets or being arrested, you know, the police department is there to enforce the law and to make sure that we have peace and to make sure that we have order. And that's a tough job. I think being a police officer has got to be the toughest job in the country, no doubt. We all have tough jobs, our fire and EMS, but I think what makes the police department so challenging, especially in the time that we live in, is there's a lot of contempt that people have for police officers. Because when you're showing up as compared to our fire and EMS, and by the way, our fire and EMS, they also receive over 90% good to excellent rating too. So I don't want to leave out our fire and EMS professionals here either. But I think the difference is when you show up for an ambulance call or when you show up for a fire call, you know, the people know they're in need and they're really looking to you to help them. And with the police officers, sometimes you're going there and they don't want you there because they're doing something they're not supposed to do. They might be stealing or burglarizing, or it could be into you're just pulling over a bad person, a really, really bad person. And I think that when you look at the difficulty in being a police officer today, it's even more difficult to be the person who is in charge of all of those police officers. And we're just thankful that we have a person like John. because, I had asked Mike Grimes earlier what he thought, was curious what he thought John's greatest strengths were. First thing he said is attention to detail. And anybody that knows John knows that he is attention to detail. And also his ability to relate and connect with people. Because he has a great ability to manage people, to work with people. And what stands out in my mind most is that when we were talking about John taking this position, and actually it was even before that, his biggest concern was always about the department and the development of the police officers. And also the dispatchers. When we would hire someone, he wanted to make sure that they had the right temperament, the right personality, and that they could connect with the people in North Canton. That they could be firm when they needed to be firm, and at the same time, they could be gentle and persuasive rather than being commanding and dictatorial. And so John is really, he epitomizes all of that. You can tell he's he's always courteous and respectful with everyone. I think he is probably one of the best dressed police officers. And I think anybody that I know is always so well dressed, because I remember when I started as the administrator, I didn't know everybody at the time. And so when I was asking, well, who is this person, that person, I said, who's the one who wears that nice suit and he lifts weights, he's a big guy lifting weights. And immediately my guy said, oh, that's John Minock, so you can tell he's the guy that works out and has the nice suits all the time. And but I think that is, that just goes to show you that John's presence in every aspect, whether he's dealing with somebody who is not a nice person, or whether he's dealing with just the good people in North Canton, he's always professional, always respectful, and he, just stays calm in a crisis. He rarely gets excited. I mean, I'm sure he does. We all do, but yeah, maybe Chrissy would say differently, right? But he always remains calm, and he always has a good explanation for everything that he does. Even when we had opening day on Little League, and we had a bunch of tickets that were written, and I got one of the tickets, right? And I said, well, I'm glad to see you guys are out there enforcing. He goes, these people need to learn where to park and where not to park. And then I heard him talking. He goes, oh, and I heard you got one of the tickets too. And I said, just a test to see if you guys are doing your job, right? And he said, well, make sure you don't park there again next time. And I was like, okay. So, but it's, you have to have that unique ability to enforce the law, to go into somebody's home when you're not wanted, and to deal with some really bad people. And you've got to know how to shift gears. And John epitomizes all of that, and he's going to carry on the tradition of excellence that started with Mike Grimes as the police chief, and was carried on with Chief Wilder. And now we're going to continue it on for hopefully another decade. And so we have your three sisters, your brother, your mom is here, Minock, and your wife Chrissy, and your Chrissy's mom and dad are here, and nieces and nephews. We've got a big crowd here. And so we're really proud of you. I think this is a great day. We're very excited. And you can see by everybody's presence here, this is a big day for the city and for our police department. So with that, we can get started if you like. Okay, Chris, if you want to stand up here. Right next to it. All right. And John, raise your right hand. It is hereby ordered that John R. Minock be sworn in as the Chief of Police of the City of North Canton Police Department pursuant to Section 737 of the Ohio Revised Code. And then John, if you repeat after me. I, John Minock, do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and the Charter, ordinances and resolutions of the City of North Canton, Ohio. And that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties of the Chief of Police for the North Canton Police Department.
for the North Canton Police Department.
And this I do
And this I do,
as I shall answer
as I shall answer
unto God.
unto God.
Congratulations. Before, would you like to say a few words? We'd like you to say a few words.
Just a few things. No, I was always fortunate as police chief to have John working in my detective bureau, and he liked to spread his wings and work other places, obviously, but I always kept him in the detective bureau because I felt it was really great to have him there because of his attention to detail, and I think it goes without saying, we forget to mention it sometimes because it is John. We just know he has integrity, and he's really, that's to me is the strongest suit. We just know the integrity that John has and what he brings to the department, so congratulations, John.
Very good, very good. Chief Wilder, we have Chief Wilder here. Chief, you want to thank?
Sir, I didn't have anything especially prepared. Other than that I share with John my sincere congratulations on his appointment to the Chief of Police. And with pride and integrity, I know he'll carry out his duties in the office. And I appreciate the support that everybody is here showing our new Chief of Police, John Minock, and continue to support him in his endeavors and his goals and to complete the mission of what the North Canton Police Department stands for. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We have our fire chief here. Chief, I know you two go back a long way. You both went to Hoover High School too, right? Graduated pretty close to the same year, right? Yeah, close enough. Both Hoover grads and both grew up in the city of North Canton. And so, Chief,
Should have been fired. No, I've known John for many years. We've known each other inside and outside the job. We look forward to working with John, what the department does. I'm sure we will continue on trying to meet that regulation, getting a better achievement than the police department did again this year. So once those tallies go out, we're going to try and work.
and the sheet did remind me, because when we get all the surveys back, we quantify them because it'll say poor, as far as the rating, it'll say poor, fair, good, or excellent. And so just to make it simple, we quantify good and excellent. And so I think the police department was at 93 and the fire department was at 94. So it's that little percentage point that keeps the police and fire, on their toes as far as providing the best service. But I think the chief, our fire chief did remind me, Chief Baker reminded me that they maybe had a few more excellents than the good. So it's all methodology as far as how we're reporting the statistics, so we have